And I was thinking that even if many people will define what is Noosphere along this conference during those 3 days, I could say a little word about that, but not maybe on the point of view that was defined inside the Human Energy team and all that, but just why, in fact, I was convinced that it's so important to work on that, to research on that, to spread the news of what is the noosphere. So I will try to say why, in fact, I thought it's really related to what we are doing here, in particular in the Institute for Advanced Studies, that is about transitions, and the plural is very important, transitions. So in my view, there are, in fact, 3 great meanings of the noosphere. There is what we could call the metaphysical meaning or metaphysical dimension of the noosphere. The second one will be the phenomenological dimension, and the third one, the ethical dimension, the dimension of engagement. Phenomenological, I take it for like description, the descriptive way of. So in the first one, the metaphysical one, I put it first because, of course, it's at the heart of it. And I will say there is, could say like the soft view and the strong view on a metaphysical point of view to think, as I could say, noospherically. So the soft view is very simple. It's just that evolution has a meaning. That's just that evolution has a meaning. And you will say, but of course evolution has a meaning. No. The dominant culture up to, let's say, 2010, 15, is that evolution doesn't have any meaning. And there is a very interesting book from a French guy that was Nobel Prize in medicine, that is Jacques Monod. And he wrote a very little book, but a very interesting book, because it became the dominant culture. It really became the dominant culture, even among people that have never read this book. It's called, in French, it's called Le hasard et la nécessité. In English, it will be, I don't know how it is translated, but something like randomness and necessity. And it is the most, depressing book that you can read, ever. And so I think the very idea of noosphere is against this book, in fact. And what does say this book? You'll see how depressing it is. It says that necessity for meaning, like when there is a necessary meaning, like when you have the DNA, like the letters that compose the DNA are necessarily one behind the other. So there is something that is following. So there is a meaning because there is a stream. There is a direction. Necessity is about that, right? But he says, as a biologist, because he was also a biologist, it's true that life has a meaning in itself because we can see it. It's growing. It's has some kind of complexity. It's becoming more and more complex through the history of life. But this meaning that is life, here on this very little planet that is just dust, in the universe, this meaning doesn't have any meaning regarding the universe, because the universe is just about randomness. So, in a way, we're saying life appeared, but it wasn't meant to appear. So it appeared not even statistically one out of millions of billions of billions of billions. It's just this almost something, even if we can't really picture it out, one out of infinity. So life doesn't have any reason. So what does that mean? That means that when it appeared, it wasn't supposed to appear, so it just appeared one time here on this planet. And when it will disappear, and it will disappear for sure, is what he said, it's like if it had never happened. So even what we think as being our memory, culture, and all that, will have never happened. Because when something has a meaning, even when you die, is because there is something left, like your kids or even culture or books that are written. But he said, at one moment, there will be nothing, no one whatsoever to read anything, never. So he told us, don't think about it. Just try to make it last as long as possible, thinking that there is nothing anyway. It's what I call in my work palliative ethics for humanity. It's just, you don't care, like, let's not think about it and just let's carry on. So the noospheric idea from Teilhard and even now is, no, it has a meaning, and even the universe in itself has a meaning. We know now, even on the physics point of view, that actually, even if he is a Nobel Prize, and he was a Nobel Prize, it was a big mistake even scientifically, because we know that the universe in itself, right from the Big Bang and all that, evolved in a certain direction. We can discuss the meaning of this direction, but it evolves, like only with what we call the element, the chemical element, are heavier and heavier, which means more complex and more complex and more complex. You know, through the stars, through many processes. So there is not like at one moment randomness, and at another moment a meaning that doesn't mean anything, because randomness will all again, things. So there is the metaphysical thing, and the soft way is to say just meaning. It's meaningful. We don't know the meaning, but at least we bet on the meaning. The strong way, the strong metaphysical way, will be the Hegelian or Whiteheadian meaning, or Teilhardian meaning itself. So, like, this meaning is the mind, like nous, the mind. So it's like if there was already, right from the start, some kind of a tendency to go towards complexities, towards more awareness. Right from the start, it's like if it was already there. That's the strong meaning of metaphysical way to think about noosphere. The second way is phenomenological, like description. It's what is more scientific, because science at first is about objective description of what is actually around us. So when some people, they don't completely agree with this metaphysical bet, that is Teilhard's bet, but they can see that phenomenologically, on a descriptive point of view, there is something to talk about scientifically. And the soft way to think about it is that we know that there is the atmosphere, like the sphere. We know that there is the zoosphere, the living world. We know there is the hydrosphere and so many spheres. But there is also a mind sphere, like a noosphere. And so we just need to describe it scientifically. And it's interesting to describe it in its own right, like we describe in its own right other kind of spheres. That's the soft way, like describing it like neutrally. And the hard way to describe it, of the description, is to describe it not as a sphere like the other, but to think, oh, this sphere, that's hard or strong way, is different than the others. That's the most fundamental one, the most complex one. You can use all the words you want, like it's hierarchically more than the others. So it's the first. We have to work on this one before. If we want to change the world, for instance, to do something about the atmosphere, maybe we first have to change something about the mind sphere, about the noosphere. And the last meaning is ethical, so engagement. It's not only metaphysical bet, it's not only scientific description on different layers of description, it's also a way to engage ethically, politically, socially. And in this engagement, there is also a soft way to engage and a strong way to engage for the noosphere. The soft way is just to see that, yeah, there is now like a global consciousness through the internet and through the new technologies that are available, and they will be more and more available around the world. But it could go in a bad way. There can be a bad tendency, like fake news and all these kind of things that we see. So it's for the worst somehow. This global awareness that is not really awareness, that is just circulation of information, but whatever information it is. And on another way is the circulation of knowledge, of science, of positive beliefs. So this time, this tendency is for the best. And so this engagement is engagement for the best, to try to engage against fake news and what it creates as on a global anxiety, global negativity, to make it more positive. And the hard now engagement is if you fighting for the noosphere is also to fight on a hard way against materialism, a nihilist society, the industrialization of human beings, the consumption society, and all these kind of things. Because of course, if we come back to the first like metaphysical point of view, if you say it has a meaning, mind is important, mind is first over the material world. The hard engagement that fit into that is fighting concretely against materialism, consumption society, objectivation of human beings and all these kind of things. So that's the reason why I was very enthusiastic when I was in Berkeley last year, and I heard all those people that came from physics, from astrophysics, from biology, and from anthropology, sociology, philosophy, all together trying to do something about it. And I thought, that was kind of a dream. I thought there was just something missing. That was I will say, more plurality of point of views, like the S, like in transitions. And so I thought we can provide that, and we can provide this point of view if it actually happened here in Bulgaria with this university with such a deep energy, an energy to change, an energy to provide another point of view, not only a Western point of view, not only a Northwestern point of view, the point of view of the Global South. Thank you.